One, boom.
Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we're going to be once again talking about Sweet Baby Inc. because little did we all know, about 3 weeks ago, an absolute gem was uploaded to YouTube. Now I'm sure you're already aware of this video because it's uploaded by your favorite YouTube channel.
Oh, Black Girl Gamers. I remember when they were tweeting about how everyone's bullying them. Even though they said it was kind of weird that there was an entire company dedicated to only a certain race being in a company. Wait, VTubing? How to get started as a VTuber? What? They have their claws in VTubers too? Damn!
Black Girl Gamers, but they released this absolute banger 3 weeks ago titled Breaking Down the Gamergate, the toxic side of gaming culture. And as you can see, it's being very well received at the moment, and there's also a very strange glitch with the comment section where you can only see one visible comment, and it just so happens to be positive. I hope they fix that. It's definitely a glitch on YouTube's end. But anyways, this video is a dumpster fire. You can see it's got the terrific trio here. You got some familiar faces to this channel. You got Jan Lopez, the CEO of Black Girl Gamers. Then you have Ash Parrish, who is a games journalist at The Verge. And of course, Kim Belair, who is the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. Now, this is like the woke Powerpuff Girls, but instead of Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup, you got D, E, and I. But in this video here, there's a lot of interesting sections. They definitely acknowledge that they are getting a ton of backlash from gamers, and they also somewhat acknowledge that it's really hurt their reputation as a company. But in response to all that, what do? Well, they double down on everything. And they have this self-righteous, smug attitude where they think they are holier than thou.
Hey, I'm smug. They do not have a smug attitude if I can help it.
That they know exactly what real gamers want, and they just mock all of the criticism that they've been receiving for months on end. So let's watch a few clips from this video.
I'm ready.
Kim, I know obviously with the company and the good work that you've done, your organization and yourself were huge targets in this phenomenon.
Chat. The CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. killed my mom and put her up as a taxidermy, chat. She hates foxes. I should sue her.
Tell us about your experience as well.
Yeah, I would say I think of us almost in as like patient zero of this wave of Gamergate, in that I think
I told you, man.
When I think of it as where it started.
This is a warning shot towards me, directed at me and Kirsche. Yep. This is a warning shot. I saw this part before, but I did not see the fox part.
It was kind of the week that we had announced that we were on both Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2, which are two, I think, popular games among the game.
Yeah, I don't know about popular. One of them is popular.
Game community and players in general. And immediately, I think the targeting began with this kind of like, we found this secret, sinister website from Sweet Baby Inc. Meanwhile, we're on Twitter like, I've been so excited to let people know that we worked on these two really great games.
So to start off, Kim makes this impression that Sweet Baby is just this wholesome Chungus company who just wants to exist on the internet and spread joy, which, by the way, no one's even seeing because all of their accounts are in hiding, and they've been like this even before the criticism of Sweet Baby really ramped up in February. They were already private before all of that happened. But a lot of people focus on the social media activities of Sweet Baby Inc. because their employees are psychopaths. You have Chris Kindred, who started this whole thing because of...
Isn't Chris Kindred also the one that would say the N-word and shit, too? Like in public, on social media? Like, just openly?
Their attempt to incite a harassment campaign and a false report campaign against Cabrutus for starting Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, that's what drew a lot of attention to these social media accounts of these Sweet Baby employees. And also people like this who work...
Oh, never mind. It was another one. It was a different one. N-word is a term just like white girl. I'm pretty sure if I say white girl, but if I say that word, I'm gonna get banned off of video games that I play. So I don't know about that one. Yeah, neighbor. Yeah,
and Sweet Baby who say some very out-of-pocket stuff, especially concerning when this is a company that focuses on inclusion and being...
Oh, yeah. Pay me to shoot down your white male lead game ideas. 2014, by the way. I usually get grossed out when straight white rich people kiss, but even I think those two are pretty cute. Okay, 2024, by the way. I just had a thought about trying this again with a photo of a young white person about to be ripped open, but I'm betting folks would immediately flag it as traumatic, and I'm guessing the image would get taken down before responses accumulated. They want to post gore on Twitter? I don't think I want to see anybody get ripped apart, no matter what race or creed they are, or gender. I don't know, I feel like this person is a schizo. Had a nightmare that I was a white male gamer. Jesus, dude.
Wholesome chungus to each other, and this is the type of stuff they're saying on their own social media accounts. It's crazy. But she also mentions Alan Wake 2. So this is a game that a lot of Sweet Baby defenders always point to. When people criticize Sweet Baby and the fact that a lot of companies they work with end up failing, they point to Alan Wake 2 and they say, hey, that was a big success, thanks to, in part, by Sweet Baby Inc. And it's very prominent on Sweet Baby Inc.'s their own website. It's always prominently displayed. It's in the bios of their various social media accounts. They are very proud of Alan Wake 2. And it was a game that had the direct involvement of Kim Belair. And eventually... And
also the woman that was in charge of the community that we read about yesterday said that if it was a man that was a main character in the game, they wouldn't have worked on it. Kind of interesting, huh?
When the tide started to turn in February and March, the team over at Alan Wake 2 tried to disavow any involvement from Sweet Baby, which, of course, it was too little too late. People already found the receipts of them interacting and collaborating with Sweet Baby, and in particular, the CEO herself. And as I was discussing earlier, people have pointed to Alan Wake 2 not only as a high-quality game that Sweet Baby Inc. was a part of, but also as a financial success. But recently we learned that Alan Wake 2 hasn't even generated a profit for the studio who made it. They haven't even made a single cent. They have not made enough sales yet to pay back Epic Games and their investment into Alan.
$70 million for Alan Wake 2, man. 70 million euros. Sorry, not even dollars, euros. 70 million euros to USD. $77 million into a video game.
Alan Wake 2. So they haven't even made a dime, despite selling over 1 million copies. This was reported in February, where they proudly displayed or shared to the public that they've sold over 1 million copies. However, since February, they have not shared any information. Of course, February being the time where people started to discover Sweet Baby Inc. and the projects they're a part of, including Alan Wake 2. And I think it is plausible that that discovery, the connection between these two, started to hurt their sales, and now they're really struggling and they don't have anything to celebrate anymore. But anyways, there's another...
Yep, he's gonna talk about this. This is great. This is great. I already talked about it yesterday, but this is good.
Story here. Recently, I guess the frustrations have been boiling over where the game's senior community manager is calling people bigots now, and that's a whole nother story for another day, but let's continue on with the video.
As a company, we worked on over 80 games together, so there was plenty of fodder for people to start going, oh, is this the reason that all of these games are now woke, that they have people of color in them, or queer people, or any marginalized identities at all? Or even sometimes that, you know, they perceive like, oh, this woman's design is not quite as it used to be, and I think it used to be hotter. So there's a lot of stuff that's been put on us, both things that we did work on, things that we didn't, and then we kind of just became shorthand for the wokeification, quote unquote, of gaming.
So there you see Kim act.
But you are. I mean, like you're forcing. You're putting like proverbial guns to people's head. Like, maybe where you got the word wokeification, but you're definitely fucking changing video games for the worse. Like, what are we even talking about, man?
Actually use the term wokeify. They're wokeifying games, which is exactly what they're doing. Everyone knows that. They are now associated with a woke agenda. So everything that they work with, every project, every game, is now going to be considered woke. And that's a pretty bad thing these days because woke games are failing extremely hard. Just look at the last couple of weeks with Dustborn and Concord. But she also mentions that there's
Dustborn.
80 games they've been a part of, which just tells people, oh, you got to do more research and find these other connections. But anyways, she mentions this fodder. You know, you're giving people fodder. Well, yes, you can get fodder about Sweet Baby just by going to their website. And you can see titles that have had an interesting relationship with Sweet Baby, like Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, who once was proudly displayed on the front page of their announced projects back in early February, when this game was released. However, it has been since removed. And this kind of begs...
And people like that who have worked on Suicide Squad, the QA people have to suffer because of it now. Isn't that really unfair to you? Is that not unfair? The guy that got laid off during his paternity leave who worked at the QA? Yeah. Isn't that nice?
The question, who did the removal here? Was it Sweet Baby removing themselves or removing it themselves because they didn't want to be associated with this absolute bomb that was Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League? Or did Rocksteady approach them and say, please remove us because everyone's criticizing Sweet Baby and the people they're collaborating with? It's going to hurt our sales even further. Please remove us from your website. We won't know the answer, but it's both a bad look for Sweet Baby. And this was something that used to be proudly displayed. I mean, you can see the former developer from Rocksteady here openly and publicly sharing that Kim was a part of molding some of the characters in the game, and now they're trying everything in their power to denounce the connection to Sweet Baby. And let's just talk again about the CEO, okay? She is famous for this quote right here.
If you're a creative...
This is so good, chat. Open your ears just for a second. This is what I'm talking about. Bullying people into making them do what you want.
Working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups, and if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Yeah, this is a quote that's...
You have to give me what I want, or you're gonna pay. Is that not like some psycho shit to say at your work? Like, let alone like a relationship. Like, imagine you're in a relationship, but this is like your workplace where you have to be professional. Yeah.
Always going to be attached to her name. Basically, approach your bosses and scare them with the threat of cancel culture if they don't work with people like Sweet Baby. Now, here is what the fear of cancel culture looks like. This is Rocksteady's official Twitter account. And no, this was not taken during Pride Month. This was taken during September of 2024. This is what their account looks like. Are you selling me games or a political agenda? It's literally ridiculous that an account would look like this for a company that people look to buy games from. That's all. They don't want a political agenda. No one cares. Do it on your own personal accounts and not on the official account of your business. It is literally the burgers meme. They are literally the burgers meme.
Behold our newest ad campaign! Tasty burger. Are you sure this will help us sell more burgers? Burgers? What do you mean burgers? It's the Kiss a Homie meme, dude!
It's actually mind-blowing. But anyways, it's been recently announced that Rocksteady is going to do a big round of layoffs because of the poor performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and as always, it looks like the executives won't be touched by any of this, but that's pretty standard these days, unfortunately.
I can't fucking believe this, man. I mean, it's an accumulation of many things, but I definitely think that Sweet Baby was a big factor, man. Sweet Baby Inc., Alyssa Mercant. Yeah, like, it's just it's sad. And then other people have to suffer because of it.
Actually, how can gamers discern the difference when it comes to consuming mis or disinformation around people and companies when it comes to Gamergate? How can people discern the two?
So what you want to do is you always want to consider your source. You can get your opinions, you can get your hot takes, you can get your video game reviews from wherever you want, I don't care. But when you are consuming news, like what is happening in the gaming world, consider your source and always consider reliable sources. Your reliable sources are going to be like your big, tentpole legacy media kind of places. I work
Yeah, legacy media is definitely a good source. For sure, 100%.
for The Verge, which is a vertical of Vox Media. There's Polygon, there's IGN,
Polygon! IGN!
there's GameSpot, there's all these different legacy video game websites that have been around for a very long
And those legacy video game websites have all been bought out and they're irrelevant and they're dog shit now. Maybe like 20 years ago, yeah.
time that have
That is
invested interest in
crazy,
making
dude.
sure that the things that they share with you, the things that they write, are up to journalistic
Kotaku,
standards.
man.
So right there, you just
Journalistic standard. Huh? Hi, buddy. What the fuck do you want? Hello. You're interrupting a react. What? Go lay down.
heard from Ash Parrish. She is a reporter at The Verge, and she goes on to talk about how we need to
Verge
look
of
at
death.
reliable sources. Gamers are not getting these reliable sources, and then she provides various reliable sources according to her. But let's begin with her, right? So she was one of the initial journalists to cover the ongoing Gamergate situation back in February and March when people were
hell
criticizing
yeah.
Sweet Baby Inc. And in her coverage, her very biased coverage, she doesn't even mention how all of that started. She didn't even mention the harassment and reporting campaign started by Chris Kindred, the employee at Sweet Baby Inc. It's not even mentioned at all. It's critically important.
Well, of course you wouldn't mention your own, like... If I wrote about my own wrongdoings, like, that would be extremely stupid. Why the fuck would I do that? That's, like, the only smart thing they've done so far. Why would they talk about themselves doing something bad? Yeah, it's incriminating. Like, why would you... Why? Brain...
Important for context as to why all this happened, but it was intentionally left out because it would make her friends in the industry look bad. And again, she also labeled another reliable source as IGN. IGN, who's been under fire the last couple of months for their various hit pieces on Game Science, the development team behind Black Myth Wukong, where they made an article using mistranslations to try to paint the developers as sexist.
And then those journalists say that they're actually correct, the translations, to convince people that they're not. I saw something interesting. Then we just watch the people self-searching. Yeah, but these people that are writing these journalist articles are not intellectually stupid. They're intellectually dishonest, and they live in a delusion. There's a big difference. They can type articles. They have cognitive understanding of what's going on around them. It's just they're so delulu that they convince themselves they live in a different reality from you and I, for example. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Okay, for the cute icon on the sidebar, stayed for the haha, look at these silly people being silly. Yeah, you could say they're silly. They're very silly indeed. I get all my news from IGN and buy award-winning games like Concord. Yeah, and you get refunded too, huh? Admitting fault is the honest and honorable thing to do, but there I go expecting too much. Oh no, why would I admit to being wrong, chat? It's just easier to just double down on it, of course.
Of course, that unreliable source is used by Ash Parrish in her recent article about Black Myth Wukong, where she calls the game mediocre. And in that same article, she would, of course, cite those IGN hit pieces on game science. Not surprising at all.
But you don't actually put any... It's always like ad hominem and not actually attacking the argument. Like, oh, the game is shit because the combat is bad, or like, oh, it's the graphics are bad. At least one of the articles that I read about this whole like, oh, it's only popular because it's Chinese influenced and all the Chinese gamers are buying it and making it sound like it's a really good game. At least it had a caveat of saying, yeah, it's poorly optimized. It's like, okay, well, at least you played the game and like ran it on your shitty computer. Like, Wukong is not a Chinese mythical drama? Yeah, they're racist too. They just don't know what they're talking about. Isn't it crazy? It's okay for them to be racist, but like everyone else is like, you know, is actually racist and they're not racist.
But that's the kind of reliable sources we deal with in games journalism.
Go ahead.
And I will say, as loud and as demoralizing and as, you know,
oh boy, here we go,
messed up as this whole thing is, this is actually a really, 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 really small part of gaming as a whole.
Yes.
It's a very terminally online problem. If you are not terminally online and you are a gamer, if you're even your average gamer, your most average gamer, which is probably like a 13-year-old boy or girl who plays Roblox, they have no idea this is going on.
You're right, but they also play fun games. They play fun games because they're not encumbered by this garbage that you try to feed them. Roblox, from what I understand, is just a fun, like, kids, like, chat room with, like, minigames in it, right? If the game is fun, I don't think they would care if, like, you injected your ideas if the game is fun. But they don't even do that. They fuck up the game to the point where it's unplayable, bro. Yeah, it's a sandbox. It's a hub with games. A lobby full of games and, like, kids running around doing stupid shit. Yeah.
Even the grown adults who pay money, who buy their like one game a year, they have no idea what's going on. Even if they are online, this is just something that does not affect the regular rank and file gamer. So I don't want people to think that this is like a common problem or this is a big problem or like people, all these people like have really this much hate. Yeah, it's just not that big of a problem at all. It gets amplified because it's a really small population and they have extremely loud voices, but your average gamer does not know about this and they do not give a shit about it. So at least at the end of the day, that's what you can take away and feel better about it, despite the fact that, you know, we are all mired in this mess that we have to.
But you made the games worse. Like, let's take Alan Wake, for example, where they had a $77 million budget. Let's round it up to $80 million. If $10 million went into freaking DEI Sweet Baby Inc. coverage or whatever, like, you know, paying them their little bite of pie, that $10 million could have been spent on, like, optimizing the game or paying for more QA or, like, into marketing instead. Like, why are we paying these people this money? This all circles back into, like, paper pushing jobs that no one gives a fuck about. Yeah, like, it just, like, why are we paying these people money, man? It's extortion, essentially. It's fancy extortion.
Interact with on a daily basis or whatever. Like, it's really outside of that. Nah, this is not a thing. That doesn't even register.
So that last section was pretty ridiculous. I mean, you're hearing this whole terminally online gamers type rhetoric, which is hilarious coming from people like this because their ideology is the definition of terminally online, okay? Everything they believe in is a reflection of someone who is terminally online and has no actual sense of what the real world is like. But on top of that, you can see they're almost bragging about the fact that children aren't aware of their company. like that's some sort of a badge of honor. No, they're just not at an age or a maturity to understand what you're doing and your involvement in games. So that's a very weird thing. And they also say that people who buy like... And
it also shows that children are the purest form of judging whether a game is fun or not. They don't... You launch a game as a child, and in the first, like, hour, you will deduce if a game is good or not, because you're completely, like... How do I even explain it? Like, it's kind of hard to explain. You're like a horse with blinders. You're just focused on the game if it's objectively fun or not. If it's a bad game, the child is gonna walk away and say, "This is fucking dumb, I'm gonna flip my desk and walk away." Especially if the game is unplayable. Like, if it's buggy and they're not getting that stimulus, they're not getting that dopamine hit of, like, having fun, they're gonna walk away.
One game a year haven't noticed the influence or have an issue with Sweet Baby.
It.
Well, they're basically people who aren't very invested. The hardcore gamers, the people who are consistent and you should be, focusing on the most, they do notice, and they don't like what you're doing. And I think it's very funny that they try to paint these critics as the loud minority. Well, this aged like milk, because
the wallet talks. I don't know what to say. Maybe if Alan Wake didn't have, like, such a massive budget, they would have, like, made a profit. AAA, $70 million isn't even that much, to be honest. The most definitive thing in this whole argument is Alan Wake 2 and Suicide Squad were failing games before people became aware of how involved Sweet Baby Inc. were. Yeah, exactly. I remember. I think I only just started streaming, and one of my chatters talked about Alan Wake. They were like, yeah, it's just like, it's an alright game. It's not amazing or anything. And it's proven now, because it's not making a profit. It didn't make enough money. I love When I Was 6 and Killing the French as the English and AoE too. Yeah, it's just objectively, like, you didn't care if you were winning or losing. If it's fun, it's fun. If it weren't hampered by the DI shit, Alan Wake would have been both better and cheaper to make. It would have been cheaper. I don't know about better. Because Alan Wake 1 apparently was actually really well liked, and I don't know if it was, like, ridden with DI. I never played the game personally. I just saw people playing it.
The timing of this upload couldn't have been funnier. It's 3 weeks ago, and what happened over the last 3 weeks? Well, we saw the Dustborn failure, but also the entire life cycle of Concord, which was praised by games journalists all over the place, but we saw what happened. The game completely shut down after only a week and a half of being live. An absolute disaster that disproves what they were trying to say in that video. But overall, I think we've subjected ourselves to enough of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.
Oh my god, man. Yeah, that was good. Reminded me why I do not like playing most video games. Just make something fun, man. Make something fun and I'll play it. I don't give a fuck, man.